Organizations across both the public and private sector are taking advantage of modern tools and applications to interact with employees, customers, and stakeholders in new ways. As applications and the network edge expand, so do the security risks, and with them, the challenges security teams face to keep up with them. Hi, I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and joining us to talk about the changing security landscape across enterprise IT environments is Paul Beckman, Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer at ManTech. Paul, thanks so much for being with us.
Happy to be here, Wyatt. Thanks for having me.
Well, in light of the way that organizations are integrating applications today in their enterprise environments, how can leaders be sure that their security operations centers are really keeping pace with their evolving enterprises?
It's a good question, Wyatt. So when I think about evolving enterprises, I consider what I regard to be the DNA of modern day applications that really just boils down to three primary characteristics. So the first one, modern day applications are interconnected like never before. In the old days, clients would connect to servers, but the servers generally weren't connected to much else aside from their clients. Modern day applications, however, are increasingly connected to just about everything under the sun. And with each interconnection, they broaden the attack surface and significantly increase the complexity. Complexity, mind you, is the arch enemy of security. And it really just makes logical sense, right? The more complex any system is, the more difficult it's going to be to secure. So the second one, modern day applications evolve at an ever increasing rate. The continuous integration, continuous delivery, or the CI/CD pipeline is getting so fast that any security attestation I place on a system today will likely be stale in just a few days. It just changes that fast. And the last one is that modern day applications are data and log generating monsters. They flood the network to the point where security is no longer trying to find a needle in a haystack. They're trying to find a needle in a sea of needles. The signal to noise ratio has been blown into the stratosphere, and humans simply are just no longer able to effectively look at everything they need to look at and actually contextualize the sheer volume of it all. So to deal with this, we have to leverage technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, and the like just to keep up. These technologies are what make it possible for security professionals to keep pace with the scale and complexity of it all. AI and ML provide a sophisticated analytics capability that once appropriately trained, and that part's a very critical step, they can continually learn and improve, drawing data from past experiences and present to pinpoint new varieties of attacks that can occur today or tomorrow. And this is huge. This is a game changer. This can solve really my insatiable problem of forever needing more people, and it has already started to with how we are implementing these technologies at ManTech. All that said, though, we must always remember to stay ever diligent. These technologies are world changers, but tomorrow's cyber attack might be entirely new, something we've never seen before, flying under the radar of even the best models. So even with these technologies, I'm always going to have and need very highly skilled, highly trained experts like the ones we employ here at ManTech with human intuition and intellect to recognize new attack methods to be able to differentiate those from really benign activity.
Well, speaking of artificial intelligence and machine learning, how are AI and ML capabilities actually evolving to help security teams manage all that incoming data that you talked about that's coming into their systems?
So as part of ManTech's security initiative, ManTech created a digital security operations center, or SOC, of the future that we call SOC 2.0. And in that, we utilize built-in artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities to aggregate all of our data from all of our sources and provide intelligent interfaces for alerting at speed. Through this effort, I can see how the capabilities are evolving. I think that, as expected, and kind of like their human counterparts, AI and ML just keep getting better. They keep getting smarter with the constant feed on the data on which it bases its understanding of the world it finds itself in. The more good data you can feed a machine learning algorithm, and the keyword there is good, the more it's going to understand and the smarter it can become. I mean, it's really just a natural result of doing what it does, right? The more observations it can make on previous attacks, steps leading up to those attacks, patterns leading up to those steps, and on, the more effective it becomes at detecting, those minor butterfly flaps that can lead up to something truly bad. In addition, the smarter it becomes, the more trusted its alerts become. That's key for me. Over time, it has fewer and fewer false positives, and that enables my security team to truly work smarter, not harder. It means that increasingly, my team isn't losing extremely precious time trying to separate the minuscule bits of gold that they really do need to look at and do something about over the buckets of what I call false positive dirt. Now, my finitely resourced team is able to aggressively jump on the issues that matter instead of doing what was required analysis on events that usually ended up as ghosts or red herrings.
Well, what kinds of partnerships should organizations seek out to ensure that they have the skilled security professionals they need to manage these new incoming security threats?
That's a great question, Wyatt. Any and all of them, as far as I'm concerned, if you can. Government partnerships, private partnerships, like the ones we've got with Google, community partnerships, academia, all of them. But I'm coming at it from an angle of being able to leverage these partnerships as a means of exposing my teams to these diverse environments. I'm going to key in on the word skilled here, all right? Workforce shortages exist for almost every position within cybersecurity. We all know this. It's been going on really since the beginning of cybersecurity. But the most acute needs are for the highly skilled technical staff. And this level of proficiency and strength, really like any muscle, only comes with time, exercising of that particular skill, and kind of mixing it up, diversifying exposure. We play the long game here at ManTech. People right out of college are not highly skilled, nor honestly can I expect them to be. Simply studying to take a test and obtaining a popular certification does not make one highly skilled either. A tier 1 SOC analyst that has been doing the exact same job for 5 years is not highly skilled. If you truly want a highly skilled staff, you really have to do it the old-fashioned way. You have to grow and really nurture these new cyber professionals into them. And this usually cannot be done within a single type of environment or even a single type of job. So you want to expose newly budding professionals to as much as you possibly can. Let them learn and cut their teeth by placing them in multiple environments over time, whether that be private industry, federal government, military defense, academia. There's a lot out there. They're going to get different insights from each of them, enabling them to get a much more rounded and comprehensive understanding of the threats and the technologies leveraged to mitigate them. At ManTech, for instance, because of the breadth of diverse partnerships we have just as a result of what we do, we can expose our junior professionals to any and all of these environments and truly grow them into highly skilled technical staff. I might, for instance, hire a new cyber professional and after 6 months, detail him or her off into a law enforcement community project as a junior tier 1 analyst, supporting that customer for a year or so. After that, I might detail them to support a large legal practice business for another few years as an intermediate tier 2 incident responder. After that, I might send them off to a series of secure coding or analytics classes, after which I ship them off for another year to work supporting a cyber program of a healthcare provider as a threat intelligence analyst. All along the way, I'm leveraging those partnerships to expose them to a myriad of technologies, disciplines, methodologies, and cultures that eventually do result in an extremely well-rounded and highly skilled cyber professional that's now ready to either support our more critical civilian and/or defense customers, or even come back to my program as the expert I need to deal with new and incoming security threats at home. In addition to the world-class cyber talent ManTech already has, every new ManTech cyber employee we have is somewhere in this journey to becoming that highly skilled cybersecurity expert capable of supporting even our most critical and sensitive customers.
Well, it sounds like a great training regimen and upskilling approach. Lastly, Paul, what is one recommendation that you might like to leave with organization leaders when it comes to building their cybersecurity resiliency?
I don't know if I can pick just one, Wyatt. No. If I had to pick one, there's so many options to choose from. If I had to pick one, the one piece of advice I would give to leaders would probably be to, truly embrace this new technology. It is a world changer, but never forget the basics. This was something I always stressed, even at my 15 years at DHS. When it comes to securing a complex environment, you have to be brilliant at the basics. All the greatest technology in the world is going to fail you if you're not. When you consider the cybersecurity framework, right? Identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. Technologies like AI and ML are taking our ability to detect and respond to a whole new level. No question about that. But while that's true, we can't forget what I believe to be the more important, the identify and protect piece. You can't protect what you're not aware of, so make sure you know the entirety of your four corners of IT real estate. And with respect to protect, you cannot exploit a vulnerability that does not exist. So before you invest another penny in detection and response, make sure you've got the protection piece down pat. Harden your systems. Be able to manage and patch your systems. Too often, I've seen security programs invest millions of dollars into state-of-the-art detection and response capabilities without really having the ability to say, one, they know where all of their systems are, and two, are completely able to manage and patch them all. I equate it to going out and buying this insanely slick home burglar system that costs millions of dollars, but never bothering to install the windows, doors, or locks to the house. Sure, they can detect when a burglar breaks in and maybe get him out in short order, but they did virtually nothing to actually prevent it from happening in the first place. It just never has made sense to me. So, again, the last piece I would leave them with is never forget the basics and make sure before you invest in anything more, you've adequately doubled down on identifying and protecting your assets.
Paul Beckman, thank you so much for joining us today and to talk about staying ahead of the adversary with the integration of AI and ML security tools.
It's sincerely been my pleasure, Wyatt. Again, thank you for having me.
Thank you.